The Bandit Ford, one of the TRW pulling vehicles, is definitely going after the Chevrolets this evening.
Well, a 190-foot track, it's a good track. We're going to be back to get the competition underway in just a minute on Power Track.
They always say, it's not whether you win or lose.
Better stick selling corn, Dave.
It's how you play the game.
Loser buys dinner.
But it sure felt good when Garst Hybrids stole the show again by an even bigger margin.
Let's eat.
Ask your Garst seed salesman for all the details. You know, there's nothing wrong with second place.
Woo, you got stuck, huh?
But it sure is nice being first.
Thanks.
Customer service is coast to coast. That's what we do the very best.
Save during our spring sale on the 6-gallon shop vac with detachable blower. Powerful wet dry vacuum plus detachable blower, only $59.99. Buy 2 gallons of soft touch paint on sale and get a 2-foot wood step ladder for only 99 cents. Gallons from $9.99 each at your local coast to coast and home and auto stores.
Coast to coast home and auto.
Now a new generation of scientifically engineered motor oil. So technologically advanced, it provides state-of-the-art protection for your car's engine for a longer, carefree life. When you won't settle for anything less than the absolute best, Citgo SuperGuard. The new generation.
For hanging in, for hanging tough, for holding on when the going's rough. For the smile that's part of you, that extra mile, for coming through this buzz for you.
Beechwood aged for the taste so crisp and clean, so refreshing. It's the king of beers.
This buzz for you.
And welcome back to Power Tracks. TNT Motorsports has the modified 4x4s here, Army. We've got a good crowd, daring drivers, great trucks. What about this track?
Well, the track, like we were saying, Richard, is 190 feet long. It's 40 feet wide. The drivers know it's a horsepower track. The question is, where can you put the horsepower to the track? We're going to be watching the lineup of the sled awfully close this evening, Richard.
Now, our test puller tonight is going to be Terry Davis. He is driving the Super Thing out of Tappahannock, Virginia. It is a Chevrolet with a 620 cubic inch motor. However, remember, no superchargers or turbochargers are allowed here.
No, this is an injected type class, so they do allow them to run naturally aspirated or carbureted engines. But Davis is in a unique position here. I think Terry Davis is one of the most underrated drivers in the sport, Richard. He doesn't have that sponsor. He runs out of his own pocketbook. But look at this on the test pull. He puts it on the beach. He buries the nose right in the sand.
A full shot on the test pull for Terry Davis. Now, not only he, but also the TNT Motorsports officials have a decision to make. And needless to say, that is the laser operator calculating the distance there. Needless to say, though, Army, I don't think they're going to let this pull stand.
No, I tell you, Richard, that wasn't a hard distance to calculate. That was a full pull. They'll come back with a meeting of the track crew and the driver. He's involved in the meeting also. And I would imagine they're going to add around 2,000 pounds more weight in the sled. They're going to call that tighten the sled up. Looks like Gogo the Gorilla and all his buddies are here. Super action in the modified 4x4s this evening.
Well, that's exactly what has happened. As you see the good crowd on hand, they have decided to wipe out that test pull. They have re-weighted the sled, and we're going to go again.
Okay, now Terry Davis had an option. He could come right back and full. That's exactly what he's going to do, or he's going to drop later in the field. Davis comes right back. The engine has a little bit of heat in it now. Just a moment ago, he zoomed it into the track. Notice the difference in weight. It's still an awfully good pull, though, Richard.
It sure is. 186.36 for Terry Davis and the Super Thing Chevrolet. Now that is our established distance to beat. And Army, besides the heated engine, what was the advantage for Terry to go ahead and rehook immediately?
The track was fresh in his mind, Richard, basically. And he's saying by going back and pulling, that action proves to me he thinks his track is going to get worse as the night goes on. I don't believe that's the case. I think we've got a real good track, and it's going to be good all night long.
All right, our next puller is coming out in a vehicle we don't see a lot on the circuit. We're talking about a Dodge, a Chrysler product. It is Tommy Holman. He is out of Wayne, Ohio, the Saturday night driller. He's been pulling on this circuit now for a little over a year.
Tommy's done awfully well for himself on the circuit, and believe me, the Dodge fans love to see him coming in the building. Remember, this is a unique sport where all three major manufacturers are represented. Dodge takes us. Look at this. He's got the Dodge people on their feet, Richard. A good run going down for him.
And the sled bogs him down at 185.15. 185.15 for Tommy Holman and the Saturday Night Drillers. Now, coming out next, Army, is a real interesting story. It is Aaron Mobley, and he is in this competition, but should he be in this competition?
Aaron, this is interesting. Aaron Mobley is here and definitely should not be. He runs what we call a super stock truck. He only has 370 cubic inches. We talked to him about a little bit earlier this afternoon, Richard. He still believes that he can show these guys a little bit of action with the super stock truck.
Well, you know yourself, he's consistently in the top three in the point standings in the super stock class, but hey, this is a whole new ball game, and I know you spent time earlier with Aaron Mobley talking about moving up into the 4x4 modified division.
In the sport of professional pulling, you have two categories of four-wheel drive vehicles: the modified trucks, which we're going to be watching there in Hampton, Virginia, and the super stock trucks. One of the unique stories here this weekend is Aaron Mobley, who comes with a super stock truck to go head-to-head with the big cubic inch modified vehicles. Aaron, what is the difference between a super stock truck and a modified?
Army, we've got super stock, we're allowed 370 cubic inch. We've got one 4-barrel carburetor, and tires, we run a smaller tire than they do.
So basically, you don't rely on cubic inches. Now, we've been talking to some of the fellas, 600 and 700 cubic inches is the norm. You're saying you're running 370. How do you compensate? How are you going to be competitive this evening running half the engine that some of the other drivers will have?
What we've got to do, we've got to get our RPMs up. We've got to slide our clutch out of the hole and try to get that sled moving faster than they do.
You're moving faster, but moving it quicker also.
Right.
Okay, now the RPM's up. There's a distinct difference in sound between this vehicle and the rest of the trucks in the starting line. You almost screamed this engine. What kind of RPM do you leave the starting line at?
I'll usually about 8,400, and if I can keep it right at that all the way down the track, I'll run good.
All right, so it looks like we've kind of got a David and Goliath story going here. A real underdog is coming up next. Aaron Mobley makes his pull when TNT Motorsports returns on Power Tracks in Hampton, Virginia.
Way back in 1988, when I was young, the American Cancer Society taught me that a low-fat, high-fiber diet could reduce the risk of cancer. I gave up some of my vices, didn't drink too much, ate my vegetables, especially those rich in vitamins A and C, and every bite was delicious. Today, I'm 82 and still having a blast.
Ready for warp speed, Commander.
Execute.
The American Cancer Society knows eating right can reduce the risk of cancer.
At 81, Jack had it all.
So what could I wish for? Only one thing.
But fate has a way of changing things.
Grandpa!
Jack!
Charlie, I got my wish. I'm 18 again.
It's not David Watson. It's Jack Watson, David's 81-year-old grandfather. What?
You know what it feels like to be inside another person's body?
You?
I'm just beginning to find out.
George Burns is 18 again.
I wish I was 18 again.
Thursday Night Thunder rages on.
Oh, hang on, Andy.
Daring USAC midgets and sprints cap off a great night of racing Thursday at 10 Eastern, live on ESPN.
And welcome back to Power Tracks. And Army, are you ready for the underdog guy? It is Aaron Mobley, the Mad Dog.
You can call him an underdog. I tell you, this guy can make life tough. We're going to look for one thing. We're going to look for a quick tire movement. We're going to listen for the engines to go up on the RPM. There's the RPM. There's the quick tire movement. Now he's going after the modified. And Richard, he's going to make life tough on him. Look at the ground speed that super stocker has already.
He did it! He has got a full pull. Unbelievable. That little bitty 370 cubic inch engine takes it all the way.
Well, I tell you, all the Chevrolet people are on their feet for that one. That would have to be what I would call a perfect run.
All right, Aaron Mobley, way to go. Big guy out of Harrisburg, Kentucky is going to be tickled to death with that run.
You know, in the sport, there's been a lot of controversy over how tough these super stock trucks are. Well, right now, tonight, you're definitely playing hardball here. You brought a super stock with 370 cubic inches and go to the head of the class.
Tell you, Army, we're trying something, and so far it's worked.
Looks like it's worked. You were making horsepower all the way through.
We changed some gears, went to a lower gear, and everything's working fine so far.
Good luck. They're coming after you right now.
Thank you.
You're not supposed to be there. You know that.
I know. I love it.
Well, that is a guy that is happy inside and out. Aaron Mobley, if we could take a replay of that pull, Army, he kicked it in right from the very start.
Yeah, he was talking about rolling the clutch, but you watch the wheels all of a sudden now just snap loose right there. Now he's going after it. The engine RPM was way up. It sounds like a pro stock racer on the drag strip, the way they have to lead the start line. They must scream the engine, keep it up in the RPM range. That's exactly what he had to do. That's exactly what he did. Now, the ball goes back into modified courts. They got to come after him.
Well, Army, you called it exactly right. He got the jump at the starting line, and here in Hampton, starting line is important.
Richard, Hampton Coliseum presents a unique situation, that being in the first 10 feet of the pulley. What it is, the drivers can compete on a 40-foot wide track. Normally, they have that 40 foot of width to spot the sled as to where they want to go, to pick their groove. In this building, because of the door opening, they all must go back to the exact same spot. The first 10 feet are going to be so critical in this competition this evening, Richard.
All right, coming out next is a former TNT Motorsports champion. He has got his Garfield on the window. That is Greg Cook out of Mount Airy, North Carolina, the Wild Blue Chevrolet. And one thing about Greg, he travels, as you know, Army, with his wife Tammy and little boy Kirby. Kirby was out here earlier jumping up and down the track in his little Bigfoot truck.
Yeah, Kirby's definitely a fan. He enjoys the sport. We're glad to be involved with people like that, Richard.
Greg Cook, a Chevrolet, once again, the starting line critical.
So critical, rolls on the throttle. On the left side of the engine, he's got some problem, Richard. He's just, boy, tough brake. Left side of the engine has gone away on him.
Tough brake. He's got a full pull, Army.
How did he do it? The left side was gone. You can see when he left the starting line, Richard, it was out of there.
Well, you could hear the engine noise itself when it went away on him, but Greg Cook, a former TNT national champion, takes it all the way down the track. Army, if he doesn't know it, you might want to give him the bad news.
Greg Cook, I hate to bring you bad news, but I think you lost a cylinder on the left side of the engine on that run.
Yeah, I believe we did. We just put this thing back in last night, and, you know, we might have left something loose. Don't know.
What's the track like out there, the bite?
Track seems to be pretty good. I think it's going to be all right.
How do you feel about that super stocker jumping up and running out of here with that thing? That was an awfully good run. You guys have been chasing these modified points. This kid's new kid on the block, and he's looking tough out here.
Yeah, well, I think the track's going to be a low-gear track, and all the super stockers run low gears, and, you know, that's going to help him a lot.
Well, we hope
to help him a lot.
Hope to see you later in the week. Good luck to you.
All right, I'd like to thank Hampton Brothers in Statesville, North Carolina. They helped me to get this thing back together so we could be here.
Real good. We want to thank them, too.
So Greg Cook makes the best of a bad situation. He gets a full pull, but he breaks the engine. That is why he was able to run the distance and why he's a former national champion.
Well, the ideal situation in any motorsport is to be number one. And a few years ago, 1986 and 87 to be exact, Greg Cook was number one. But it seems like the handle went away on you in the 1988 year. What happened, Greg?
Well, Army, as you know, things changed. We had a little problem with the engine and some of the drivetrain components, and some of the other pullers, they started getting bigger cubic inch motors, and things just really went growing fast, and we just wasn't growing as quick as what we should have been, you know.
Okay, now, new engine. Everybody's trying to find the right combination on engines. I understand you kind of teamed up with somebody that's helping you with some research and development.
Yes, we're working with the Hampton Brothers in Statesville, North Carolina. They've been real well on, if we break something, they'll spend late hours, you know, trying to get us back together so we can be at the next event. And we're doing a lot of research in the heads and working on building bigger cubic inch motors and getting more power out of them.
Bigger cubic inches keeps coming up. What is big in this class? I know there's rumors of some 700 cubic inch engines out there. What is big?
700 cubic inches is big. There's a couple of them that's a little bigger than that, but that's a really big size motor, 700 cubic inches.
What type of carburation and fuel do you run with it? Now, you run basically the Chevrolet engine setup. What kind of carburation and fuel do you run to be competitive?
We run the Enderley birdcatcher system on this. It's a fuel injection system, runs fuel injection pump, and run methanol for fuel.
1989, you're going to be able to find the handle and get this Chevrolet back in the winner's circle like you used to be?
We're trying awful hard. We're going to work real hard, too. We don't give up real easy.
That was Greg Cook. He just made a full pull, but it looked like he lost a cylinder. Army, you think he'll be able to come back?
No, Richard, I think his evening's through. And like we were saying in the interview, this is where he's trying to get. He wants to get back where the high roller is, that being the national points champion.
Howard Lewis out of New Carrollton, Maryland, and a Chevrolet. He is the defending champion, the defending 4x4 modified champion. Matter of fact, his pulling team voted Team of the Year, and he is off and rolling good.
Lewis developing some good ground speed, Richard. Weight comes up on him and nails him just shy of that 190 mark. He's going to be a little bit off, what, a 185.05.
So the defending Redman TNT National Champion with a good run, but it is not going to get him in the winner's circle tonight.
Howard, it looked like you took a little bit longer than the other fellas to call on the horsepower. Do you think that worked against you?
Yes, it did, Army. I know exactly what it did wrong. We just waited a little bit too long to get him onto it. The track has to be driven out in order to get it down here, and I know that we just waited a little too long. That was a mistake, and it's going to cost me dearly.
Well, we are now about halfway through the competition, and isn't it about time we saw a Ford? And here comes our first one.
Well, Richard, there's always a battle between the Ford, Chevrolet, and Dodge fan in this sport. This Ford comes out, a lot of pressure on him because he's a modified, a big cubic inch truck. But look who's sitting on top of this thing, a little small block Chevrolet sitting out there. So for bragging rights, he's got to take his Mountain Motor Ford, go after that Chevrolet. Let's see if he can do it.
This is Roger Crawford, the bandit out of Ohio.
What ground speed, Richard? He's going to nail him. He pulled full all the way. What a beautiful shot.
The Ford fans are on their feet because he has now joined the Chevrolets in a pull-off. Roger Crawford puts it on the beach in Hampton.
Well, Roger, with track conditions being like they are, that was almost what I would call a perfect run.
Well, seemed like it hooked up pretty good. Got the hop in there, but it's hooking good, so we must have had it in the right gear.
The starting pad up there, how critical is that tonight? I know everybody's starting in the same spot. We're asking everybody that question. The first 10 feet can make or break you, it looks like.
Got to get it moving the first 10, 15 foot, or you're not going to carry it down to the end down this side.
How many fellas behind you can make a full pull? There's already 3 of you out of here with a full pull.
I'd say probably about all 4 of them. I think there's 4 left. Everyone's got a chance to take it out.
Well, you heard it from a guy that just took it all the way. He thinks the remaining field can also make full pulls. We'll find out when we come back with TNT Motorsports and more of Power Tracks.
When he's working, when his work is done, a man wants a jean he can feel comfortable in. American Hero Jeans from Wrangler.
At BIC, we've been studying all the ways that you pull and stretch your face in search of a better shave. Now BIC presents our solution, introducing the new BIC Metal Shaver. The patented BIC Metal stretches and smooths your skin thanks to its unique metal guard bar, so the shaver glides closely and comfortably. Now, instead of stretching, start reaching for a new BIC Metal Shaver. It stretches your skin for a better shave, and that's no stretch.
And welcome back to Power Tracks. Richard Leake along with Army Armstrong in Hampton, Virginia. Our next driver in this modified 4x4 field is Bob Smith, Robert Smith, out of Winchester, Virginia. He drives the 3 Bears, and he's not only a former national champion, Army. His hobbies include skydiving, scuba diving, jet boat racing, hang gliding. This guy loves danger.
Yeah, he's just kind of a laid-back guy. But one thing I like about him, he involves his family in all this. When he's not driving this truck, normally his son will step in and do the driving. So the father and son concept there. Let's see what's going to happen. 3 Bear Chevrolet trying to get out. Not going to do it.
He gets a distance of 184.40. That'll put him in the number 7 right now, Arm.
Richard, it's amazing how tight they're getting around the 180 out mark. That last 10 feet is tough.
Well, here comes Bob Minnick out of Winchester, Virginia. It is another Chevrolet. It's an El Camino. It's called Small Change. It's got a 615 cubic inch Chevy engine.
Well, they may call it small change. You run that big an engine, you got some big bucks tied up in it. We don't get to see this truck that often. A good-looking rig, the El Camino body style, a crowd favorite. Let's see how he's going to run.
Well, he is the defending Virginia State's point champion, so he knows what he's doing out there.
Engine sounds good. Ground speed looks to be real decent for him, Richard. Now comes the brute power.
No, he was close. So 186.99. All of these pullers tonight, Army, as you said, getting well over that 180 to 185 mark.
Boy, they're ganging up in that last 10 feet.
And coming out next is one of my favorites. Maybe it's because I love the movie, which he named his truck after, or maybe I just like watching him pull. It's Carl Staples' Risky Business Chevrolet out of Moyock, North Carolina.
Well, Carl has won championships before. He travels on the national tour with us. He's trying to get through this winter season. He's going to update a lot of equipment when we go for the summer points. But right now, as he sticks his head out the window, it's kind of a unique situation. He learned to drive that way. The reason they stick their head out the window is to make sure the left front wheel stays straight. Risky business, trying to jump in the middle of a... Oh, wow.
He had a shot going, Army. What happened?
I have no idea. It broke quick. No indication of problems at all. We'll check it out, Richard.
Carl Staples' Risky Business, as the fans look on, wondering themselves what the heck happened. Had a great run going, then all of a sudden it just dies on him.
Do you have any idea when something like that's going to break? The horsepower was there, it was making good traction, and all of a sudden, bam. Can you feel that inside the truck? No, I never felt it, Army. I was pretty sure I was going to make a full pull, and it just, all of a sudden it just quit.
What happens to the engine in a situation like that? Does the engine go upstairs enough to hurt it?
Well, I don't like to turn this motor, but about 7,200, and I'm looking at the track, and it turned about 8,200, so that could have hurt the motor a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you, I agree with Carl Staples, and I guess you do also, Army. I thought for sure he had a full pull going there.
Yeah, he definitely had a great run going, but it's amazing. It's almost like throwing a cherry bomb in a trash can and putting the lid on. When it went, it just went.
Well, coming out next is another defending state champion, and he's before his hometown crowd here. It's Thomas Parnell. He is driving the crowd pleaser Chevrolet.
You know, as we go all over the country, Carnell's got to be one of the crowd favorites. That's where the name came from, crowd pleaser. No, I'll tell you, boy, you hate to see this. This guy runs so strong, comes to his own home state, not the run he wanted. He may have missed the gear on that truck. Normally, he screams those big Chevrolet engines.
Talking about screaming, I guess you could tell then from the start being trackside, he just didn't have it tonight.
Yeah, down here you can tell normally it's almost deafening when he runs that truck.
Isn't she a sweet one? Boy, that's one thing I like, Army, about traveling the country. Some of the great kids we meet on this circuit.
Well, that's what it's all about. They're enjoying truck pulling. We're tickled to death to have them here. As the next puller goes out, another Virginia puller coming out now, Richard.
It sure is. That's Jimmy Brizendine. He is driving the Footloose Chevrolet. Now, it only has a 588 cubic inch engine, and so far, except for Aaron Mobley, the smaller engines haven't done as well.
Well, Brizendine's working the left side of the track now. The track's starting to work out, and the groove will develop. It's going to the left side. Brizendine, good run. We're not going to be in a ballpark. Again, on the other side of 180, that last 10 feet is no man's land tonight, Richard.
181.26 for Jimmy Brizendine. And when we come back, it is pull-off time. 2 Chevrolets against 1 Ford on Power Tracks.
Customer service is coast to coast. That's what we do the very best.
Save during our spring sale on the 6-gallon shop vac with detachable blower. Powerful wet dry vacuum plus detachable blower, only $59.99. Buy 2 gallons of soft touch paint on sale and get a 2-foot wood step ladder for only 99 cents. Gallons from $9.99 each at your local Coast to Coast and Home and Auto stores.
Coast to Coast Home and Auto.
Eagle One, masters in the art of visual perfection. Eagle One's professional guide to auto detailing available now at participating retailers.
NASCAR drivers go head-to-head with danger at the world's fastest half-mile track, the Valleydale 500 from Bristol International Raceway. Sunday at 1 Eastern, live on ESPN.
Well, TNT Motorsports ready to get this 3-truck pull-off going, Army. We've got 2 Chevrolets and 1 Ford, and Go-Go, the gorilla, the official starter there.
Well, you know, a moment ago you were talking about the kids we run into across the country. That's one of the reasons they really enjoy our show. All the kids love Go-Go, and he loves them. But right now, the business at hand, what the sport's all about, a pull-off.
Well, we're going to have Mad Dog as our first pull-off truck, but right now, let's go to our question of the week.
This question of the week about the Redman TNT All-American Pulling Series comes to us from Sid Connington of Chenango Forks, New York. And Sid wants to know how the hitches are constructed on the pulling vehicles. Sid, in most classes of pulling vehicles, the hitch must be made out of 7/8 or 1-inch solid steel. Now, the height of the hitch depends upon the pulling class. For instance, mini rods are about 13 inches high. The modified tractors about 20 inches. 4-wheel drive vehicles, 26 inches, and in this case, a 2-wheel drive vehicle, it's 30 inches. Now, the higher the height of the hitch, the more leverage you get in the pull. Now, as well as this primary hitch, there's also a secondary hitch. This is called a safety hitch, and it's used in case the primary hitch should ever break. And if you have a question of the week about the Redman TNT All-American Pulling Series, send it to us at TNT Motorsports, 5515 Poplar Park Boulevard, Louisville, Kentucky, 40228. And if we use your question on a future television broadcast, we'll send you free a TNT Motorsports hat.
By the way, Army, I want to take this opportunity to thank the many thousands that have sent in letters for the question of the week. Some great questions. I wish we could use them all.
Yeah, I tell you what, we do appreciate it. And keep writing those cards and letters, because that lets us know what you find interesting in the sport. Speaking of interesting, Richard, look who's not coming back.
Greg Cook, he made a full pull in that wild blue Chevrolet, but it's like you said, he let go of a cylinder, and he's out of the pull-off now.
Well, Richard, this sets up a unique situation. Ford and Chevrolet, the old-time battle, but super stock Chevrolet, 370 cubic inch, he's going to take the first shot, then the Ford's got to go after him. Listen to the RPM. Oh, he left the start line perfect, Richard. Ground speed starts to come in for him. The Chevrolet people are on their feet. Aaron Mobley's Mad Dog's making a beautiful run.
159.30. He nailed it, Army.
Yeah, but now it's up to the Ford, Richard.
So the David and Goliath story is about to come to an end. Here comes Goliath. It is Roger Crawford and the Bandit. Meanwhile, you've got Aaron Mobley down there. What does he think Roger's got to do, Army?
If he hooks it up, he's got the horsepower on me. That's the only thing I've got that I can hook my truck up more. But if he hooks it up early, I'm a loss.
I'll tell you, just from listening to Aaron Mobley, I'm kind of rooting for him to win this thing. Nothing against Ford or Roger Crawford or his wife, Deborah, who I saw down there cheering her husband on the sidelines. Here comes Crawford, and the Ford Bandit chases that little bitty super stock Chevy.
Actions speak louder than words, and tonight, Chevrolet takes the win with a 159. The Ford goes a 153, a major upset, Richard Lee.
An upset because it was a little super stock 4x4 that came in here and knocked off the big old modified 4x4's. Your winner, Aaron Mobley, and a Chevrolet over the Ford of Roger Crawford.
Like we said, if you believe in Cinderella stories, there's one going on tonight. Congratulations. It looked like you're going to take his win out of here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's something I've looked forward for years, and it's just something I can't explain.
There's always been a question as to whether or not super stock trucks can run with the modified trucks. I don't think it's going to be a question anymore.
Well, when I came here, it looked like a good track, and I didn't think I could do it. So I geared my truck down and brought her out hard, and it worked.
What a great ending to the show tonight here in Hampton, Virginia. As we run down the top 5, Terry Davis, then Bob Minnick. Third place went to Greg Cook as he broke before the pull-off. Roger Crawford's Ford was second, and Aaron Mobley, the little super stock Chevrolet, won it tonight. For Army Armstrong, I'm Richard Lake. We'll see you again on the tracks across America.
Join us next time for Power, the most powerful sport on earth. Brought to you by TNT Pulling Series.
Installation, and also the home of the aircraft carriers, USS John F. Kennedy and America. Hello, everybody. I'm Richard Leake. In just a moment, we're going to cross the bay into Hampton, Virginia, the next stop on the Redman TNT All-American Pulling Series.
The lightning is thunder roll.
everybody. Welcome to Power Tracks. We're Army Armstrong tonight in the Hampton Coliseum in Virginia. We're going to watch two levels of competition. First of all, the super modified two-wheel drive.
Well, Richard, 1989 takes off for 88 left off. That being the top 3 point chasers. They're right back after each other again.
And, of course, he's talking about Mike Stowe, Wayne Roush, and Ken Lamont. We'll be seeing them plus others. And also tonight, a lot of fun because the modified tractors are here.
This is going to be the lightest modified tractor class we run for the national championships, 5,800 pounds. And what makes it so interesting, you're only limited to 2 engines, automobile-type engines, or the Allison aircraft engines, and the aircraft engines definitely are contenders for this championship.
And the cream of the crop of the modified tractors here also. We'll be back to get all the competition underway in just a moment on Power Tracks. And welcome back to Power Tracks. We're in Hampton, Virginia. Army, another great crowd on hand for this Redman TNT All-American Pulling Series event.
Well, Richard, all the pullers are glad to be here. They travel all over the country. This is a unique event for 2 reasons. Number one, physical confines of the building will make everybody start identically in the same position. And number 2, we are at sea level, so you have to tune your engines completely different when you come down this close to Mother Earth.
And we're going to start the competition with the modified tractors. This is our test puller, Ron Headley. It's called Betty's Headache.
Oh,
He's out of Iowa.
Richard, look at the balance. If you talk about a perfect balanced tractor, that's it right there. Ron Headley with Betty's Headaches, a full shot. You can't get any better than that.
Remember, the track is 190 feet long. That is our test puller. Now, we're going to have to wait and see if it's going to be declared an official pull as we go trackside.
Now, Ron, you drew that dreaded. It's getting to be that way. The dreaded number 1 spot made a full pull. It hooked on you real good to the right. Do you think they're going to let the sled stay the way it is, or they're going to come back and change it?
I really don't know. They'll look at one more tractor. I think they'll leave it alone. I had a pretty good ride.
Did the sled pull good for you?
Yeah, pretty good. I think my motor might have been a little fat, but I'm guessing again. I'm trying to work on my engine, trying to get the front one to run a little better, and I'm gaining.
What about the starting pad? Everybody was worried about the first 20 or 30 feet. How critical was that?
It's real critical on this sled. This sled lets us get going real quick, and you want to do it right now down there as far as I'm concerned. If they mess around too long, I think it'll hurt them.
So Ron Headley out of Fairfield, Iowa, Betty's Headache, the modified tractor, gets a full pull as our test pull. Army, I'm a little surprised because Ron said he thinks they're going to leave the sled alone and let the distance stand.
Well, Richard, the reason behind that is there's a lot of new at this particular setup. Number 1, we're new at this level. A lot of tuning is going to have to be done. Ron himself mentioned he's hunting for some horsepower. The fact that the sled weight's going to stay the same, but it attacks the drivers differently. Also in the Headley interview, you notice he said the sled will let you get a run, then it's going to nail you. If you don't get the ground speed on the first 20 or 30 feet, it's going to hurt you. So what he's saying there is the track looks like it might go away. I don't think that's the case. I think some of these Allisons will come back and beat some of these automobile engines a little bit later.
All right, coming out next is Robert Hutton. He is out of Bristol, Virginia. It's the Clodhopper, and he runs Chevrolet engines aboard that tractor.
You're looking at about 3,000 horsepower. Each supercharged engine is generating around 1,500 horsepower. Now he missed his weight. It skied on him real quick, and that's going to hurt him, Richard.
You saw the front end come up midway down the track. He shuts down at 183.26 for Robert Hutton and the Clodhopper 2 out of Bristol, Virginia.
Remember, Richard, we're going off a 190 track, so he was within 10 feet of a full pull, so the bite looks like it's still going to stay in the track this evening.
And our next modified tractor belongs to Richard Rockefeller. He is all the way from the great state of New York. He calls it the Policy Peddler. I don't know where he got that name, but it is our first look at an Allison aircraft engine.
He sells insurance, Richard.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Unique engine combination. We were talking about the Allison, so versatile. Now, this is a turbocharged version of the Allison engine.
Now, the distance to beat a full pull. Well, really, he can't beat the distance. He can make a full pull, which would be 190 feet. That would put him in a pull-off. Already our first puller tonight, Ron Headley, sits there. Here goes Rockefeller.
Oh, Rockefeller working that right brake. Look at there, Richard trying to steal a horsepower away. A beautiful driving job in hook left. And he worked it back with a right foot. You can watch him all the way through.
Distance of 189.58. Richard Rockefeller misses a full pull by less than a foot. There's a little guy that would probably love to own a modified tractor one day. Richard Rockefeller not with a full pull. Let's go down trackside and find out why.
That had to be a trick run for you. The weight was up, and you were really working that right brake for everything it was worth.
Yeah, we got on the brake really hard down through there, and I pulled my RPM down real bad.
afraid we were going to get out of bounds on it, but if I knew we didn't get a full pull, we were going to do it pretty good.
Tell you what, from this end, that was a beautiful run. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
A beautiful run, but less than a foot shy of a full pull. Is coming out next is a former champion out of Keota, Iowa. Name of his tractor is Lurch. Jerry Fornash. He runs that Allison aircraft engine, Army.
Well, you know, it's kind of interesting. Jerry, who's followed the circuit for quite a few years with his lovely wife, they take the winter months and they come out of the cold country up north and they follow and chase these national points. Lurch, it's got an interesting name. Remember the old television program a few years ago where the monster characters?
Adam's Family.
There you go. That's where the name came from.
I think that's where some of my family came from, too. But never mind. We have got one full pull already tonight. Rod Henley, we're going to try to make it two. Let's see if Fornash can do it.
Right hand, look at that right hand all the way on the throttle, wide open, Richard. He's going for the best shot he can get. It's looking good. He's there. He is there.
Full pull puts it on the beach, Army.
What a run. Now, notice the front of the engine. What's happening here, we've been talking about being at sea level. You notice the flames coming out. It's a jetting they have to do in the engines. He'll back up. We'll be ready to go on with more action in just a minute, Richard.
More modified tractors coming your way from Hampton, Virginia on Power Tracks in a moment.
See the Indy 500 time trial Saturday and Sunday afternoon live on ESPN.
And welcome back to Power Tracks. We're in Hampton, Virginia. We're all ready, folks. If you're just joining us, you missed a show. We have had two full pulls by these modified tractors, and another great puller is on his way out, talking about Wayne Sullivan out of Warsaw, Kentucky, and he's going to be running the Rodec engines. But, boy, what a shot we've had tonight so far.
It's been a surprising track, and I tell you why. The building makes everybody leave in the same place. What I mean by that is, you notice the sled he's backing up to? The building is only like 12 feet wide. That sled has to go back in the same spot. That is why on this track, the starting 20 or 30 feet is so critical. Now, Sullivan, you were talking about him. He's from a history. He's the third generation of pullers in the Sullivan family out of Warsaw, Kentucky. Wayne Sullivan is not there. Normally, he screams the engine. Not the run he was looking for at all, Richard Lee.
Horsepower just never came up. 170.09 for Wayne Sullivan. It looked like he also might have missed his weight, Army.
Wayne Sullivan, you fellas are notorious for running a little weight on the front, but it looked like you had a whole lot of weight up there this evening. It never even looked like it wanted to pull the front wheels up.
Nah, it would have pulled the front wheels up, Army, if it run good. I've been working on the motors. It's a different motor up front, and I'm a long way from home, and the air is so much different here, I think I got to feel right.
So Wayne Sullivan's got to pack it up and go home. Our next puller is going to be Wayne Cook. Wayne out of Russellville, Kentucky. This is one of two tractors he's got here. This is the Weekend Joy. It's an Allison aircraft engine. His other tractor also has an Allison aircraft engine, but they are different, as Army explains.
Well, if you've ever been to a tractor pull and you think it kind of sounds a little bit like your local airport, this could be why. One of the most versatile engines ever designed by man was designed to power aircraft, the P-51 Mustang to be exact. In the mid-1940s, the military designed this engine, the Allison 12-cylinder, 1,712 cubic inch engine to power the fighter aircraft. Since then, this engine has been very, very versatile in all fields of motorsports. It holds the world's record for unlimited hydroplane racing, but it's found a new home now, and that's in the sport of professional pulling. One of the reasons so many drivers use the Allison engine is because of the versatility. You can run an injected version of it, carbureted version of it, turbocharged version, also a supercharged version. The Allison aircraft engine to make the horsepower, the trick is how do you get that power to the ground?
Army, that presents an interesting question as we get ready to see Wayne Cook pull. Do you think it's an advantage to have the aircraft engine or to run an automotive-type V8 engine?
There's two different schools on that. The automotive engine requires a lot of RPM. The Allison aircraft engine we're looking at right now, Cook, it's a torque engine, a lot of low-end horsepower, and this is more or less a muscle engine, and Cook is not getting the muscle out of it that he needs. We said he had two tractors. I guarantee you the next tractor come out, he'll make some changes with, Richard.
126.29, a disappointing distance for Wayne Cook. out of Russellville, Kentucky. That is going to put him nowhere up close to the top 5. Our next puller coming out, quite a story behind this guy, Wheeler Rittinger. He is out of Circleville, Ohio. He drives a tractor he has named the Outcast 2. And the crowd anxious for him to come out as he is going to be running twin Donovan engines.
Well, the Donovan engine, this is a unique vehicle, and I'll tell you why. The Donovan engine was built for drag racing. It'll make the horsepower, but I want you to notice how the engine's set on a tractor. The front engine sets to the left, the rear engine sets to the right. Now, get what I'm getting ready to tell you. The front engine or the left engine drives the left wheel. The right engine or the rear engine drives the right wheel. Richard, each wheel is driven independently. He's the only puller we know that does this.
Which brings up an interesting question. What would happen if one of the engines would blow?
He's going to go left or he's going to go right. That's the only thing that can happen.
Right now, he is going all the way down the track. A great run and another full pull.
That's what
Wheeler
happens.
Rittinger.
That's what happens if both engines do right.
Wheeler Rittinger has made it 3 full pulls tonight. Let's go trackside. Army's got him.
Wheeler looked like an awfully good run, but you were fighting that rascal every foot of the way.
It was a rough ride. I mean, it was really tough to get her out.
Think you can hang on to win this thing? Jerry Fornash is out here. Ron Hanley's out. You're the third one to go out.
I'm going to try.
There you see the replay of that full pull by Wheeler Rittinger. As you heard Army said, he joins 2 others in a pull-off that's coming up later. There's some of our little people here enjoying the action as Bob Chickering out of Bloomfield, Iowa, a long way from home in the inch pincher. And this is an injected Allison aircraft engine, Army.
Basic same engine you saw a moment ago with Cook. However, the difference is it's injected where Cook's was carbureted. Now, Bob Chickering gets a lot more RPM out of his engine than most of the fellas do with the Allison aircraft engine. He's got a whole different theory. You notice the wheel speed. That's the same kind of wheel speed normally an automobile engine would have. He hooked real bad to the right. Richard, that's going to cost him on the other end of the track.
No, it's not, Army. He powered through it.
He muscled that Allison, just making all kind of super horsepower, Richard Lee.
Give us 4 full pulls for the night. But, you know, you brought out an interesting point, Army. Most of these guys, even with the full pulls, are pulling to the right of the track.
How come everybody's hooking and coming to the right?
I don't know. It seems like it's pulling everybody to the right awful bad.
The fact that you all have to start basically at the same place, you're not able to move the sled back and forth. Is that affecting the run?
Yeah, you're getting a run. That's what gets you started one way or the other there.
Well, moving on in this competition, this next guy, you know, Army, over the last few months, I've gotten to know him very well. John Carlton out of Little Plymouth, Virginia. If I could ever have another father, which I don't, but if I ever could have another one, I'd want John to be my dad. He is a super nice guy and a great veteran puller.
You know, he's close to home, and I know what you mean about the caliber of individual he is, but keep in mind, close to home, wants a win, watch him. Carlton is loaded for bear. Look at the ground speed, Carlton. Richard, look, he zooms it out. He puts it right in the end of the track.
He would have taken it right outside the building if the sand pile had not stopped him. John Carlton makes it 5 full pulls.
John, you came through there like a fast-moving freight.
Yes, I had to work real well. That's the first time I pulled that class, and tried to really work good.
It looked like you were hooking a little bit to the right, but you kept the power after it. Were you worried about going out of bounds at all?
Yeah, the tires were drifting to the right, but I never got on the brakes, just drifted on over. It didn't go away.
Boy, this is unbelievable, Army. Already tonight, 5 full pulls in this modified tractor class. We've still got one more to go. It's Wayne Cook out of Russellville coming out with this tractor Color Me Gone. That's the Allison aircraft that you showed earlier.
Okay, now, Bob, if you look at the engine right now, you can tell he's having some fueling problems. Notice the flames coming out. The jetting is not right on the engine. Wayne and his wife Nancy following this national circuit with us with the twin Allison combination. Cook does not have the handle on it tonight. Not going to be there.
Finally, let's go at 172 feet for Wayne Cook and Color Me Gone out of Russellville, Kentucky. Now we're going to have a 5-tractor pull-off a little bit later on in the show. But coming up next, it's modified 2-wheel drive action on power tracks. Sports fans in Hampton, Virginia, just treated to quite a show, Army. 5 modified tractors making full pulls. We're going to see them a little bit later on and a pull-off. But right now it is time for super modified 2-wheel drive competition.
Well, Richard, as you know, the super modified 2-wheel drive vehicles, they're chasing their national championship points right now, too. Tractors, 5 of them are coming back in a pull-off. Super modified 2-wheels coming out now, and it is a war in this class. A war right now between this man here, Ken Lamont, And two of the top pullers in the country that'll be following him. Lamont will pull early. That's going to be important.
All right, so here comes Ken Lamont out of Crossville, Illinois. It's called the Plano Toolbox Midnight Express. It's a Chevrolet El Camino powered by a 572 Arius engine.
You know, Richard, we gave an award away for best appearing vehicle. The Plano Toolbox Special would definitely be in contention. It is a fine piece of equipment here.
One reason for that is crew chief Tom Merck, who works on it with Kenny. Here we go, our opening shot tonight.
Wow, Lamont hits the weight, looks good. That's a good run. Lamont is going to have to be tickled on a 190 track. What does he go, Richard?
184.80. So Ken Lamont has set the distance to beat as we get ready for the Mongrel, another El Camino Chevrolet. This is Dave Laskowski. He's out of Angola, New York. He runs a 557 cubic inch Rodeck engine.
Well, Dave is an unknown commodity with us on the tour. He doesn't follow the point chase with us like everybody else does. So we're going to kind of watch this guy and see what can happen. He can really throw a wrench into this national point chase with a good run here. It looks like he's got a good one going for him. Now it goes away on him at half track.
Finally shuts her off at 164.67. Dave Laskowski with a disappointing pull in Hampton.
When he came off that right side, same groove that Lamont came out of, just didn't go as far. Yeah, first run we come off the left side, and it really pulled me to the left. I had to ride the brake, and we dropped the gear and moved some weight. I don't know, it's the best I could do.
Well, here is one of the more beautiful vehicles on the circuit, Brian McDonald out of Harwood, Maryland. McDonald's Delivery is the name of it. He and his wife, Denise, have worked very, very hard on this beautiful 1923 Ford. And Army, I know earlier today you spent the afternoon with Brian.
Brian, how come the difference?
Well, I wanted something different besides a lot of the new trucks, and I really like the old cars, the way they're built. And the lines they had, the real subtle curves, and just like the lines.
Okay, let's start at the very front of the vehicle. Supercharged Chevrolet engine. What cubic inch is it?
It's 526 cubic inch Rodeck.
Okay, do you build your own engine?
I have a lot of help from a friend who lives in Washington, D.C., Leroy Dutney. Me and him work together a lot, and I basically put the top end together, and he works on the bottom end for me.
Okay, from the firewall forward, tremendous amount of space. The original engine set closer to the driver. Now, your engine set's way out. What's the reasoning behind that?
Well, the rules are 15 foot from the center of your rear axle to the foremost portion of the truck. And the weight really doesn't do any good in the middle of the truck, and you have to get it out there to be competitive. So I had to keep the truck competitive, but yet keep it looking good. So I made a compromise, and that's what we came up with. We lengthened the back about 3 foot, and we left about a 3 foot gap behind the motor, and just to try to equal it out and make it look halfway decent.
Boy, it looks more than halfway decent. It is beautiful. I know, Army, you have a street rod that looks a lot like this.
Yeah, but I tell you what, mine's for grins and giggles. This guy's down to some serious pulling with this vehicle. McDonald's Delivery. This kid's an up-and-comer in the sport, Richard.
Oh, he just doesn't have it tonight, though, Army.
Tough break, 20 feet shy.
164.33 for Brian McDonald out of Harwood. That was a Ford, and talking about Ford, here comes the best of the bunch. It is Mike Stowe out of Warrington, Georgia. He is your defending national champion. As your leader, Ken Lamont looks on and gets ready for Mike Stowe's pull.
Lamont sits on top of this thing. He and his crew chief are on the side of the track, and Ken Lamont is sweating BBs right now because the bad dog Forrest Stowe is coming after him right now. Let's see what's going to happen. It's going to be one-on-one. Stowe is going after Lamont. Not there. Oh, Lamont's got to breathe a sigh of relief.
Way short for Mike Stowe, your defending champion, 164.63. Ken Lamont is the winner.
You jumped out there, and you had to sit here all night long and let these guys take a shot at you. What was going through your mind when you got guys like Stoles and McPherson and Roush coming after you?
Well, I tell you what, with the point race the way it is, Wayne sure did give me a lot of breathing room when whatever happened to his motor happened. And then when Mike didn't catch me, I thought I pretty well had it in the bag because there just wasn't enough track left out there. The track, this type of dirt wasn't packing back together real well. And that was just a draw was in my favor. You don't ever beat this pack of wolves by 20 feet, and I just lucked out tonight.
Well, get ready. Coming up next on Power Tracks, along with Go-Go, we got the modified tractor pull-off straight ahead. Tracks, TNT Motorsports in Hampton, Virginia, where we are about to start a 5-tractor pull-off And our first driver coming out is Ron Headley out of Fairfield, Ohio. He named the tractor Betty's Headache, named it, Army, after his mother.
Richard Headley's the kind of guy that puts it on full kill, believe me. Oh, speaking of full kill, front engine kicked her right out the left side, about a $20,000 explosion right there. He's out of it.
He wasn't even halfway down the track, and the motor just went away. Could you have any indication at all, Army, it was about to go?
No, it's an internal breakage. The rod, you can look at the bottom of the engine on a replay and see pieces of aluminum starting to come out. A tough break for Headley out of Iowa.
All right, Ron Headley in a pull-off after making a full pull in regular competition. Tough luck here in the pull-off. Coming out next is Jerry Fornash out of Keota, Iowa. Name of his tractor is Lurch.
You know, speaking of tough breaks for Headley, they can still keep first place money in the family. This is his father-in-law here. We told you the story. No, Jerry and Rod, they got involved in the sport, and Rod married Jerry's daughter, so they're keeping it in the family. Maybe the family that pulls together stays together. I don't know. But right now, Lurch, the Allison aircraft horsepower, trying to go into the lead. He'll go to that number 1 spot with a 144. Not bad. Notice again the flames out the front of the engine. This sea level pulling is really causing a lot of problems for these guys.
All right, Jerry Fornash, 144.48. That will be the distance to beat in this pull-off as we get ready next for Wheeler Rittinger. Wheeler is out of Circleville, Ohio. It's called the Outcast 2, and he runs the twin Donovan engines.
Donovan engines again. Each engine drives a wheel. Wheeler doing the driving, looking good, working the left side of the track, has some ground speed. Now the weight on the sled catches him, trying to go the other side of a 144, Richard.
Oh, just short. Close. Misses it by less than a foot, 143.67. So right now, Wheeler Rittinger sitting in second place. And Bob Chickering out of Bloomfield, Iowa, and the inch pitcher will try to take over the lead. Bob runs the injected Allison aircraft engine.
Bob Chickering, the gentle giant in this sport, believe me. Right now, the Allison aircraft's on top. An Allison aircraft engine going after him right now. They're good friends, but right now, one-on-one. Chickering's going after Fornash, a little bit light on the nose. But the horsepower's there, trying to go the other side of a 144. Looks good.
He does it easily by some 11 feet, 155.71. Bob Chickering is our new leader in this pull-off with only one guy to go, and that little kid is probably rooting for him because it's John Carlton from right down the road, Little Plymouth, Virginia. It's called the Virginia Farmer, and he is powered by Chevrolet engines.
Normally, he runs 3 Chevrolet engines. In order to make the 5,800-pound class, he can only run 2. It's a new combination for him. He would love to do good in front of his own hometown. Let's see what can happen. Richard, look at this run. Perfect. Perfect run for the Virginia Farmer. He takes that big win.
He blows him away, 166.19. Way to go, big John Carlton out of Virginia wins it before the hometown folks.
John Carlton, congratulations on a big, big win in front of a whole lot of your friends.
Tiger, that's a good place. I like to win here. My captain here, I like to give him a lot of credit.
Well, I tell you, these people in this building were really, really pulling for you. We're awfully proud of you, and best of luck for the rest of the year.
Tiger.
Well, as we see a replay of John's winning pool, let's run down the top 5. Ron Headley took 5th. In 4th place tonight, Wheeler Rittinger. 3rd place went to Jerry Fornash. 2nd to Bob Chickering. And the winner in the modified tractors, John Carlton. Also, congratulations, Ken Lamont and his win. For Army Armstrong, I'm Richard Leake. We'll see you again on the tracks across America.
Join us next time.